everybody, I'm Rudrani, and this is such a special episode. Happy Women's Day. Today, my guest is a woman that I've always admired. She has been this courageous, this uninhibited, and this quirky since the beginning of her career. And today, she's still hustling, she's still relevant, and she's still thriving. Of course, I'm talking about the woman that we all love, Neha Dhupia. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. Welcome to the show.
Long time.
I know I've missed you.
I know, me too.
I had to. And how can I do a Women's Day without you, Neha?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, like, as long as somewhere I belong to, the representation, I'm happy with that, yeah.
You were a person who was not from the industry. Of course, you did a little bit of plays. You won Miss India. You came back. You were doing ads, modeling, and you came in with a movie like Julie, which of course was about owning one's sexuality, which of course now we have a huge conversation about. And also, when you did that, everybody else just made it about, oh, she's done this, oh, that bold scene. Imagine what you must have gone through, where people were left, right, and center. Besides the shaming, there was outright slut shaming that was happening, which was embarrassing and absolutely horrendous. But you took it all up. I remember, I went through just to see how you were handling in press conferences. You were okay. How did you deal with all of that, Neha, at the time? Now I know it's a little bit more support from the people around you, but at that time, my gosh, it must have been crazy.
I mean, it was, because
Yeah.
I think I was getting trolled at a time when there wasn't social media. So for me, like, to live in that moment, like my debut was a film called Qayamat, which is a mainstream commercial film. And then the second one to release was a film called Julie. And I was just like, hey, I've done one mainstream commercial film. Now I have an author-backed role. Let me go ahead and do this. And yeah, there were like, I think 2 scenes or 3 scenes where it was, at that point considered to be rather out there. And I didn't think that, those scenes in today's language would track as much as they did. And the whole film became about that. And there was this poster where I was lying down and, it was a backless shot. But I'm like, people are doing it all the time.
For photo shoots.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And then I'm like, so how does it make me any different? And then you see young 20-year-old girls and boys who are flaunting themselves, looking beautiful, and there's acceptance, and there's inclusivity, and there's, the will or the ability to kind of speak and do your mind. So why does my choice hurt and offend, or why did my choice hurt and offend so many people, to a point where I, at one point, started to believe that, is this the end? Is it 2 films and no more? And that's when I was just like, you've got to, like, you're the only one who can decide what's good and bad for you. You're the only one who can decide. I feel very early in my career, I made 2 such diverse choices that I learned that A, there is all kinds of work for everyone. B, you are defined by the choices you make, because the conclusion doesn't actually lie in your hand. It lies in the hands. It lies in the hands of the producers. It lies in the hands of the audience. It lies in the hands of the media, and you've got to be really careful. So, I think soon after, I must have been 24, and I've actually never spoken about it because I've never been honest enough to tell myself that it was a life choice that may have affected me, but now, I mean, I can state a cliche saying I don't want to change anything about my life, and this is why I'm here talking to you about this.
Yeah.
But maybe I could have, like, changed a few things. Would I want to undo anything? No. Would I want to change something? Yeah, maybe I would have done that film a little later in my career. And likewise, I feel like you are a sum total of the decisions you've made in the past for yourself. And as long as I am calling the shots and I'm making those decisions for myself, that's the most important thing. Through my 20s, I saw myself being this person where I was young, and I was, people would admire me for who I was, and, confidence is something that kind of, I didn't fall short of. And at the same time, I was a part of a business that had by now accepted me for, for better or for worse, or for my hustle. I saw myself sitting at home a lot because I was almost taking 3 steps back to take 4 steps forward, because I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that. I didn't know what I was really cut out for. Plus, I'd never traveled in my life before that, never ever. The first time I sat in an airplane was my first modeling assignment. Before that, we couldn't afford sitting on a plane. So we were just like, let's just figure it out. So my 20s gave me a lot of room to work, to travel, to go out there, explore the world, take time off. I've done I still have, flashes and images of myself sitting in my balcony and reading a book. And I go back and think that I'm so glad I did those things that I did do. But I also made some wrong choices. I also learned much later in my life.
Yeah.
And by wrong choices, I don't mean relationships or friendships or, being betrayed. It's all a part of life. You need to go through that. You need to go through that heartbreak. You need to go through that adventure. You need to go through, betrayal at that level to understand that, not to trust easily or not to give yourself, not to fall for the wrong people. But that's a different conversation. But professionally, I saw myself comparing myself to a lot of people, and that was not required. And I feel like a lot of 20-year-olds are doing that right now. May not be as to, they don't wait for what they need to read in the papers and watch in the papers the next day. But yeah, I mean, just social media, and they're there. I mean, the world is out there for them within seconds. And you're like, hey, why didn't I get this film? Or why didn't I wear this outfit? Or why didn't I get this nomination? Forget that. Why didn't I get so many likes on my photograph? I mean, I just feel like the trivial issues have become so large in people's heads that one needs to snap out of it. And through my 30s, I think, I just had cool relationships. I've had great friends my entire life who kind of give me a reality check, keep me grounded. And here I am in my 40s where, I'm a mother of 2 children. I have immense support from my family, my husband, who I love immensely. And I look back at my life, and now, would I want to change anything? No. Would I want to choose wisely? Yeah. Do I regret doing anything? No. Have I hurt anyone? Not at all. So I guess that the sum total of my life karma, I feel like feels pretty balanced.
I love how you summarize that bit. But like I said, I will give you in this course of the interview credits where I think you were never given. Like I said, why I brought this up was because I felt at that time you were being made to feel apologetic for being who you were and for making choices at the time that you decided to. I remember there's one, while doing my research, I came across a question where during Mithya, obviously you fought to change the kind of bracketing you were getting, right? Someone, you were being, a question that was asked to you was that, why did you name your character Julie? Why would you want people to remember that phase, especially when you're running off? I feel like it was so unfair to make you go through that. Besides the obvious slut shaming and the kind of things that were being written about you because you did that film, I feel like, were you made to feel uncomfortable?
I mean, Rudrani, I'll be very honest. The person in me, or the actor in me, or the professional in me, and I don't like to name myself in third person because, I mean, I sound retarded, but just me being me, I'm very thick-skinned. I always have been. The mother in me, the wife in me, the daughter in me, the friend in me is not. So I would get extremely offended if somebody goes that far with me. But if they're going to take a jab at me, I really shun it off and I sleep it off. And that's where I feel like it started from. And the fact that you're bringing it up and you remember it, and I'm glad that you bring it up, because I also want to set an example for young 20-year-old women who are watching this, that we've all been through it, and it was harder back then. I mean, revival, survival, these things were so hard back then because, you can't put yourself out there as much as you can put yourself itself out there now. But I'm saying there's not just for the women, but also for men, everybody watching, there's that line. Like, don't take it to a point where it's going to bother you, where you're going to lose your sleep over it, where at 3 a.m. you're going to keep getting up at night and, you know, checking your phone and almost like isolate yourself from what reality really is.
You went through that?
Reality really isn't that. No, did I go through that? No, but I was extremely stressed out to a point where I did question myself soon after the film release because people had so much judgment. Also because everyone had watched the film. It's not
Of
like
course.
the film did badly. Everyone watched it. And at this time, something that would be called a solo hit was back then like, why did she do this? I was like, will I have to pack my bags and go? Because if this is what doing a film like this would take, because it was an author-backed role for me, if this is what would happen, then, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the right thing to do is. And I was ready. Like, I was like, okay, maybe it's time for me. I've done 2 films. I won the pageant. I got nothing to prove to anyone. I have an education behind me. It's time to go get a real job. I didn't feel like this was a real job till then.
And you were preparing for IFS along with it. So,
yes.
hello.
Yeah, but, and in my head, I was like, I was there. And then I did 1 or 2 other films. And then soon after that, I think it was 2005 or 2006, I'm not sure, I got Chup Chup Ke. And then I moved on. I think I got De Danadan or Singer's King. And, you know, it's just, I just saw more color. And I made good friends on set. You know, the world was interesting. And I also, like, hold on to everything. Like, I'm the kind of person that I come with immense gratitude in my heart. So, like, even today, like, when I have someone who's coming, doing my hair and makeup, I feel like, you know, here's somebody who's doing something for me, or you're making time to interview me, or people are making time to watch me. I really feel that, you know, I mean, I really feel extremely grateful that even now they want to do it, or the fact that you remember everything about me, it just makes me feel that relevance is key. Working towards relevance is something that's very hard. But
I always believe, and I know you do also, that female friendships can be healing.
yeah.
At that time, were there other actors in the industry where you felt like was your safe space?
I really enjoy spending time with Katrina on the sets of Singer's King, because after that we did De Danadan as well. I really enjoy spending time with Kareena, and I still have really good friendships with both of them. I can message them, talk to them about anything. Who else? Soha. I mean, we've never worked together, but yeah, we are. I mean, there's nothing like last night. I mean, and just now, like my show dropped, and the first thing I was just like, you know, I have a brand new season of No Filter Neha. She knows how hard I worked on the show as a producer, and she's like, I haven't seen you in like a week or 10 days or something. I'm like, let's go out and celebrate. And she's like, what are we celebrating? I'm like, my show's done. We're done recording. We're doing all this. So Kunal and Angad were on the other side of the table. It was Soha and me. And she said something so beautiful. And she was just like, we're also celebrating. And, you know, we both were offered a show. And at different points, a week apart, you know, I was offered the show and she was offered the show. And we both said no. She said the other thing we're going to celebrate is the fact that we still have the ability to say no to work, which makes us so secure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, the sense of security comes from your children. My children have taught me how to be secure. You know, when I joined the business and I was very new and I would look at like an Ajay Devgan or an Akshay Kumar, they were like, these are big stars and they're not going to shoot on Sundays. I was like, wow, you know, how does one get to this point in their lives when you're actually saying no to like film producers or work that comes your way and you're saying, hey, I'm not going to shoot on weekends. But today, as a working mom, the one thing I've learned how to do is compartmentalize. And one thing I've learned how to do is say no to work, because if it takes away from time from my children, I'll politely decline. Not that I will say that, hey, I'm not going to do it, but I will decline because I know that my joy, my treasure, my value, everything that I cherish lies in seeing my children grow. And apart from that, if somebody really wants to work with me, can do the same thing on a Monday and not on a Sunday. So I don't let anyone take advantage of that. And earlier, I would always let that happen. You're the only one who can define what your value is, you know. So I mean, it's really, and I'm talking about your price tag is very different from your value. So they're two completely different things. And I'm not chasing any price tag. I'm not chasing any numbers. But I know that, today if I don't do a particular shoot or work with a certain brand, or brands anyway don't work on weekends, but if I don't do a particular shoot on a Saturday or a Sunday, I'm going to be okay with it. A few years down the line, it's not going to matter whether I did that digital shoot, whether I was a part of that show or not. What's going to matter is that my children are going to grow up. Right now, they need me. Tomorrow, when I would want to be around them, they'll be too, grown up. And it may not be the same. I don't know what it's like, but I've heard stories. And I don't want to be separated from them. I want to make most of the time. And I feel like my children have defined what my value is. Because of them, I turn around and say no. And because I have the ability to say no, I feel like they keep coming back for more professionally.
I love that. Becoming producer must have given you even more agency, right?
Yeah.
Like, just some time back we were having a conversation and she said, you listen, I'm the producer on the show. I can get it done. I love that. And tell me how that changed life for you, because, and how are you being treated in rooms where you were trying to pitch for stories that you wanted to produce or two things in the beginning to now, of course. And of course now with No Filter Neha, with the season even bigger, I think I wanted to go there.
I've produced a couple of short films. I've not produced any long format content yet. I don't know whether I want to be a full-fledged producer just now. I'm in season 6 of No Filter Neha as the co-producer of the show, and I'm very creatively inclined. But there's a very large part of me that fears the perfectionist or the micromanager in me, which I feel I may get too consumed, and I'll take away from seeing my children grow up. So as an actor or as talent that gets hired to do different jobs or be a part of different shows, I know that I can walk into a room and I do have the strength to dictate terms. But yeah, I mean, as a producer, like you said, I do have more agency. But what do I want right now? The most of where I'm at is professionally, I'm not going to say I don't want to be left behind, because I'm not running that race. Professionally, I just want to continue to work. I love the speed and the hustle and, the accomplishment and all of that. What I don't like are the odd hours anymore. I used to love the odd hours also, and I would love to just put on music and drive home at 2 a.m. after pack up. Like, nothing ever troubled me as much time-wise, but now I want to run back to the kids. So I don't know about long format, or a feature. I may just end up doing something, but right now I'm extremely proud that something we started off has hit season 6, and as a producer and as the anchor or as the host of the show, we've done okay. I feel.
You know what is really interesting is that you have continued, as the season's called No Filter, to have no filter conversations, but it's becoming increasingly difficult. Like the last Coffee with Karan, which did tremendously well, the feedback that Karan himself also admitted that we were very politically correct a little bit. People have been in the backside. And I know that as someone who's a producer on the show, even though they're Karan's friend, they're your friends, it's very difficult to have conversations that you really want to today.
Yeah.
Tell me, how have you navigated through that?
We're also walking that fine line when it comes to my guests need to be comfortable with the conversations, and the conversations that they have or the answers that they give. I need to be, in a situation where I feel that they have stories, they come across as people with a voice, they come across as people with experiences, with humor, with wit, with courage, and that's what the show is. It's called No Filter Neha, but it doesn't mean that, you've got to come there and pour your heart out. You've got to come there and be yourself. Now, if that moment that you're living makes you feel very empowered, or makes you feel fierce, or makes you feel like you want to have a good laugh, be yourself. And that's all that I ask of you. And it's a well-researched interview. We take pride in that. But having said that, sometimes the question triggers very interesting answers, and I want people to watch it. And the ones who are complaining about masala nahi hai, ye nahi hai, wo nahi hai, I feel like कहीं ना कहीं it's our doing only. हमने ही cancel culture शुरू किया है. हमने ये सब किया है कि हम लोग अगर इतनी सी बात करेंगे तो हम इतना बड़ा बना देंगे उसको.
Example.
So, I mean, with reason, and I'm not going to say that that doesn't come with reason, but sometimes I feel like, you know, you've got to let people be. And एक मतलब वो जो बड़ी old school सी live and let policy है ना वो आजकल के ज़माने में है नहीं. Gets hard.
It's hard, and I agree with you. What I also want to bring up is because, like, imagine Karan had to go and apologize for an episode, which I thought was so sad. Like, Deepika and Ranveer were being completely themselves. It can happen in your show also. I hope it doesn't, you know. But it was so sad that they dissected it. They made it into something else. They said that, oh my God, they believe in cheating. The conversation was so beautiful.
Judgment is never good, right?
Yeah.
Like, unless you're like on a stage where you finished a round of, you know, gymnastics or at a beauty pageant where you're getting judged or scored, or if it's ice skating where, like, you know, you have a judge sitting there and you know that you want good scores. You don't want to be a high scorer when it comes to judgment and cancel culture. But yeah, I sometimes feel like not just that, but I just sometimes feel like things are taken too far. What's going to end up happening is that in the near future, things are going to be taken so far that people are going to stop caring after a point. Like, it's just going to be like, I'm going to be myself.
Yeah.
Like Shahid said on our show, that I'm going to be myself. As long as I'm not hurting anyone, I'm not offending anyone, I'm totally allowed to be myself. And that's what he was. And I really like that. I felt like I was talking to Shahid 2.0, so which was very nice. Because he's been on the show even earlier.
Yeah.
And I felt that, you know, it was very like systematic and talking about the work and the movies and stuff. And this time he was just like, you're not following script, I'm not following script, let's just have fun and let's talk like we know each other. I've known the guy 26 years, so it needs to count for something. So yeah, as long as we're keeping it real, and like this conversation, now if something blows up from here,
What do you do?
What do you do? But I mean, I'm just being myself.
And please, thank God for that. I don't get to have real conversations. All right, to the last part. Some fun questions, of course. All right, Neha, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, 3 women in your life that you give a lot of credit for adding to who you've become.
Ooh, adding to who I have become. My mum, always. My closest friend, she doesn't live here. Her name is Pallavi. She lives in New York.
Okay.
And I speak to her like once, sometimes even once in 3 months, but I know that I can pick it up from where I left it. We were in school together.
Yeah.
And the third would be like a close call between, I mean, not third, but all of them, like another set of friends. Again, friends, my friends Nandini and Manmeet. So, but you know, a lot of friends would be it, yeah. And Soha's a very dear friend as well. So yeah, lots of names actually. I mean, you've got to give it to women. I mean, the list is endless. And on days, sometimes I feel it's my team and everyone from my team. And there are days, sometimes I feel like, you know, even my support staff, because behind every working woman, there are many working women. And, you know, just all of them. So I can't take the credit away from anyone. Oof, yeah, list is endless.
Fair enough. 3 women whose journey you've sort of observed and you feel like have truly contributed to changing so many things for women in the industry.
Yeah. 3 women in the business. I think Kareena, I mean, she made everything cool. From size 0 to wearing kaftans to working through her pregnancy, everything. Alia, what a, I mean, what a bundle of talent and energy and, you know, all of that. And to be able to like lead the way, pave the path, now turn producer and became a producer and a mom at the same time. Those things are hard. Also, I mean, Ekta Kapoor, like, you know, she kind of started it right from the beginning and up top. And, you know, as a woman to be able to like, you know, she was really in a man's world when she started off. I mean, now there are other female producers as well. So yeah, Ekta Kapoor.
If you had to be truly no filter, what is one fact that you'd like to drop about your favorite celebrity? You get to choose and you can drop the fact.
Yeah, that Kareena called herself an eye roll. Yeah.
She kind of is though, isn't it?
No, I love it.
I love it. Okay, what is the most no filter thing that Neha's done ever?
I don't know. Like, actually, I don't know if you see my Instagram when it's not work. I put up really real stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, from taking hand-me-down clothes and passing them on to like, you know, I don't know, like sitting in pajamas and putting up posts, and I don't worry too much about the stuff that I put up. I think my Instagram page is pretty no filter.
What is one-liner advice you'd like to give Meher if when she turns 18?
You do you.
All right. On that note, Happy Women's Day, Neha.
Thank you very much, and I'm so happy that I made the cut for your Women's Day
always
special. And I mean, I'd like to wish you and everybody else who's watching a happy Women's Day, and to all the men and women out there, yeah, rejoice.
And thank you for being you.
Thank you.
Lots of love.
Oh yeah, I learned this from.
Oh.